Oop. What's up, people? Yes, I know. I'm multitasking. Some people says it gets on their nerves because I drive around and I do shit like go to the pharmacy and go to the grocery store and all kinds of shit when I'm doing live streams. But you have to understand, I'm kind of in a position right now that if I didn't if I wasn't multitasking, one thing wouldn't be getting done. And since like right now I have to go to the pharmacy because my leg's rotting off, and taking my medication yesterday because the doctors are stupid and they just a long amount on the prescription. That I want to be doing a live stream and you wouldn't be hearing from you, which doesn't, I don't know how much that means to you or may not mean to you. But it's just the way it is. So that's what I want to do. And a few people get in here. I want to go over what I think happened with Afghanistan and China, or more so Afghanistan, and then what I think is the future is going to see very shortly. Because a lot of the things have happened recently that are interesting. For instance, Elon Musk putting the plans to the Tesla out on the internet for anybody to get. Anybody, you can literally, if you had the parts, if you could build the parts, you could build your own Tesla, but it not be a Tesla. The system, the design of the system, battery systems, charging systems, all that stuff is now out there, free for the taking. How does this play into Afghanistan? Well, if you look at Sir Biden and his alleged involvement with China, which is not really alleged, we kind of know that he works for them. The instant withdrawal from Afghanistan when China was in the middle of a deal for the mineral rights in Afghanistan. But Toyota truck is small brain. Female driver, small brain. Women do have smaller brains than men. This is true. On here, yeah, there's a few of you on here. Now she just torture the yard peeling out of you dipshit. That's true. That women do have smaller brains. It doesn't mean they have lower IQs or less ability to think. They just have smaller brains. Do with what you will. Anyway, so now China has the mineral rights in Afghanistan, which there's a lot of cobalt and lithium in Afghanistan. Elon Musk puts the plans out for electric cars. What do you think is going to be happening in the near future? I would think, it's just me, that China is probably going to be doing what they do. They're going to be picking up that technology, reproducing that technology under a different company logo or whatever. And now they have unlimited access to all the lithium, not to mention all the rare earth minerals in Africa that they've been getting at for the last decade. We've just been watching it happen. And that's kind of where we're at. So what does that mean? That means that our government sold us out to China more so than they already had. One time, I remember one time in this country in my life, I'm 40 years old. I was born November 18th, 1980. At one time in this country, if you wanted to, you could live from solely products made in this country. Not anymore. There's things that you can just not get, that you just can't get that are made here. Even though we have the ability to make things here, we don't. So like these chips that these car manufacturers can't get, those could be made here. We have the technology, we have the equipment. I would bet we even had the resources to. But it just can't be made as cheap here, so it's not worth somebody investing the time and effort to start that company just for, our government to try to shut them down for EPA violations or some shit like that. And in the future, China would just, make a cheaper product that everybody would buy from there. So there's no benefit to going into that. And it all has to do with government regulation. On a good note, Barricade Garage will be on Freedom Inc. 2 on Friday. We're going to do a live stream together. I think he has a really interesting story from what I know from it. I think it would be a good story for people to hear because he kind of finds himself in the same predicament that I'm in because of dumb decisions that I made and I learned from years ago as a young adult or even a kid are still affecting me today as an adult who's completely changed my life around. There's no recourse for it's a good word. There's no recourse to reestablish your original standing in society. You know, it's like the social credit score. You know, we're felons, so our social credit has been dropped to way below average. I would say even below that. I would say it's probably the lowest. You know, they put these labels on people, whether it be felon or criminal or whatever it is, and then that dictates your status level in a society or even what you can do. I mean, some of the smartest people in the world were criminals. The dudes that founded this country were all criminals. They were all felons by today's standards, even terrorists. And we see what they did. Yet we're blocked out of being able to do certain things. So why? I think, in all honesty, I think the government understands that people who are likely to go against what the government says, hey, you don't even have to be hurting anybody. Just, you know, they say you can't do it. You say, well, kick rocks, I want to do it anyway. Now you're a nasty felon. If you get caught, you're just a criminal until then. I think that they know what would happen. You know, which could you imagine if every felon in Ohio showed up at the state house for a march armed? How long do you think the police would be able to control them if they tried? They wouldn't be able to. Because all the felons were used to telling them, well, most of them anyway, are used to telling them to kick rocks. Because that's just kind of what happens. You know, that's what they do. I mean, I've seen a prison population of 1,400 people control a prison to the point where the National Guard was called in. State troopers were called in. And then they were going to call in the National Guard. They didn't want them having to because they wanted them getting broke up. But you have 800 people out in the yard fighting the cops. Hang on, I got to get a prescription real quick. I wasn't going to do this, but so, I need to pick up a prescription for Nicholas Bolton, please. 11/18/80. Yeah. November 18th, 1980. November 18th. November. Yeah. No, ma'am. All right, give me 1 moment. I'll send this out. Thank you. So this is the medication so my leg don't fall off. It's not going to fall off. Christy says it is, but I don't think it is. But so Friday, be looking forward to that. It'll be before 3 p.m. Barricade Garage will be on here, and like I said, we're going to talk about his. I don't know what all we're going to talk about. I would like to do an interview with him and just kind of like about his life, because I think he has a really interesting story. The dude does good for himself. He has a great head on his shoulders. People think that he has some kind of, I don't know. They question why he can say what he says when other people have said similar things, yet get strikes and shit for it. I don't know. Is it because he's black? Probably not. It probably has more to do with the algorithm. His channel was originally about, what it then morphed into, and then what it is now. So that's probably what it has to do with more than anything. But the truth is I don't give a shit. He's able to say it. I'm glad that he's able to say it. I hope he keeps saying it. And as long as he can say it, we have a voice out there that's able to say it, who's not going to strike every time they turn around. You too, thank you. I just got two more notifications from YouTube today. They put age restrictions on my videos on Freedom Inc. that were up when I was monetized. So like that makes no sense to me whatsoever. How do you monetize me? And then once you monetize me, you start giving me strikes and shit for videos that were up when you monetized me. Like y'all didn't check that shit out. And you think that they would at least give you the opportunity to fix those videos if that was the case. Which I don't even, honestly, I don't care about monetization. I do in a sense because I would use that money just like I use any other money now. That would go to you if you had an issue. It would go toward, you know, whoever if they had an issue. So that's the only reason I care about it. When it comes to like personal shit, that money ain't never going to help me. For multiple reasons. Number one, I'm never going to be in line enough to make it profitable in a way that would benefit my life for me. And so I'm just not going to take the money. You know, does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense. I'm probably not. I'm not very good at explaining shit. Of course, y'all probably already knew that. Watching Freedom Inc. is like watching a puzzle. You got to kind of, you know, take a little bit from this, a little bit from that, a little bit from that, and then you can understand probably what I'm saying. If not, you're probably just really fucked. Unless you know me. What do y'all know? Oh, there's Liberty Chick. Hey, baby.
because people, I can't read shit on here. My eyes are killing me. I'm not monetized. Why do I get strikes?
You get, because they don't want you to. It's an upload thing at that point. So being able to upload to YouTube is a privilege. It's not a right. It is a privilege. It is their company, and to a certain degree, I agree with it. What I don't agree with is that they have the protection of a platform, yet they act as an editor. So let's say that I started a YouTube or a website, Freedom Inc. Well, we have Freedom Inc. show, but I don't have the keys to it right now, so I can't access it. And on that website, I said something, whatever that something was. I said, Faith, you go do this thing, Faith. And you went and did that thing and hurt somebody. You could say, well, Freedom Inc. told me to do it. That's why I did it. And then I could be sued by the victim of whatever you did. YouTube, because they're a platform like MCI, AT&T, Warner Brothers, whatever it is, Verizon, T-Mobile, whatever those platforms are, just like the phone call. If I call you on the phone and we form a plot that is illegal over the phone, AT&T can't get in trouble for that. They're just a platform. They're just there so you and I can communicate. YouTube has those same protections, so YouTube cannot be sued. The problem is YouTube acts as an editor and gets to decide what you can and cannot say. Their justification for this is that they are acting that way in order to keep people safe, which is total bullshit. They're doing it because they don't want people to speak out about certain things. So giving you a strike when you're not monetized is a way to keep you in check. Hey, if you say this, we're going to give you a strike. You get 3 strikes in a 90-day period, you lose your channel. I was monetized for less than 24 hours. I made fun of it. I was like, this is a joke. They're not going to, no way they monetize me. And I even said, they're probably going to demonetize me by the end of the weekend. And I told Christy at home, I said, this ain't going to last more than 24 hours watch. And I was right. I got an email a few hours later and it said, you've been demonetized for such and such video. The video I actually got demonetized for, I think, if I'm thinking correctly, it was some stupid ass video that didn't violate community guidelines. It was a video that I had mirrored where I think it was about the trans person that got the shit kicked out of him by the gang, and then the white dude pulls up to help that trans person out, and they try to kick his head off of his shoulders and put him in a coma and shit. But see, that was BLM doing that shit. They don't want people to see that. They don't want to know what those groups are really about. So they give me a strike, lost monetization, and since then it's been nonstop. I think I got 4 videos yesterday that were either taken down or age restricted. Which age restriction, I don't care. I do care in a sense, but a lot of it doesn't need to be age restricted. I mean, if your kid can't hear what my kid says, you need to get that umbrella out from over your kid's head for protecting them. I don't lie to my kids about anything. Nothing. There's really nothing I would talk about where I'll tell my kids to go in the other room or something like that. Just because I feel like they need to hear it. Me being sheltered my whole life, which I wasn't sheltered, but me having adults tell me to go in the other room and shit is why I didn't realize some. Was it? Hey, what's up, man? All right, how you doing? Yeah, I get it. I didn't hear what he said. I guess I'm fucking tired. Okay, hold on a second. I'm trying to do 5 things at one time. Yeah, I don't know. Let me in. I can't get in my door. Door in my life. Thank you. But that's why you get strikes like that, Faith. You know? And the community guidelines are so vague that you can't follow them. You're either on their team or you're not on their team. I'm not on their team, and I'm not willing to change my message or what I say or the words I use to appease them. Now, I have been trying to quit cussing, but it wasn't for YouTube reasons. It's because it sounds foul, and I came to the conclusion that if I either need to cuss, if I have to cuss and getting my point across, people are going to pay more attention to the cussing than my point. So I'm failing myself by doing that. Reread this to see what I got to do, since you're probably going to be the one. Take 1 capsule by mouth 4 times a day for 7 days, and they gave me. See what they gave me.
What am I being careful of?
I didn't want you to turn around.
Oh, I was going to show it. I'll show you guys my leg. I think it looks better.
Hey,
Yeah.
look at me. Look at me, please.
Okay. Oh, well, I'll show you.
Let's see.
But this was, I think this was a spider bite. I'm not really sure. It just kind of happened.
Got the left side?
There it is.
You can let it off again.
That's what it looks like. I think it looks better because it was all red, like all the way to the back of my leg, and the other side of my ankle was hurting. It's not hurting anymore.
Let me see. Your circle. It's not bad.
There's a voice in the background. Don't pay attention to it. What's up, Greg? How you doing, man? What's up, Dave? You found a dog to see without a mask? Yeah, we did I did a, what was it called? What was the name of the app? Huh? What was the name of the app, Christy?
My ideal doctor, and it's going to be Rely and Be Next. Look.
Let's see who's talking.
No, yes. Never mind. Let me see your leg.
Punch him in the mouth.
No,
Punch.
that's the guy behind you.
Bet y'all won't hit.
Telling him something.
I know. It's their neighbors.
I know.
Oh, they're probably talking about that. I just seen a Toyota go to the ditch up there and run through some
That's
yard.
probably what they're talking about.
I think it's getting better. I think the majority of the
Okay, so it has not gotten better.
Doctor
The
Liberty.
red has gotten darker.
Okay, but it's healing.
Okay. It's healing without nothing in there.
Yes. So they gave you, what do you say? What $2 did they give you? What's that called? I can't read that. What's
Weird. Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah,
Reflex there.
That's what they gave me. They're giving
Except for it's spelled wrong. Just kidding.
you know, I do so I can cope. Come on.
Well,
Yep, they give me some antibiotics. Just so people know, when you have
4 times a day.
inflammation or infection, pain medicine
Jeez,
will not
I'm
help
just
that
figure
pain.
that out.
You have to get rid of the inflammation or infection before your body will accept opiates. I mean, you can take a lot of them and it'll help, but
Because they said you found out to see without a mask. Well, yeah, well, that's what you just said, telling you, right? Online.
yeah, I'm not going to do it because if I justified to myself today, and I easily could have, then I'll do it again tomorrow. I already did it once for when the guy that killed Nick was sentenced. And I wore a mask one other time when I was asked to by my doctor. He was asking me to, not telling me to. I even asked him, like, you telling me or asking me? It's like, I'm asking you. And I did it that time just because he was cool with me to ask me, but I'm not doing it. I will not do anything I'm told to do. I never have. I'm not going to start now. So then in the end, it's going to bite me in the ass and it's going to wind up being detrimental in some way to my life, but I don't give a shit at this point. I think that Guns Coast to Coast made a video that was about just saying no. Like, no is a powerful word. And it is. The problem with the word no is you have to be willing to act behind that word. So if people are willing to say no, they're unwilling to accept the consequences of saying no or what they'll have to do. You know, it's like a cop tells you to get on the ground. No. Okay. Now you put yourself in a position. Your options are limited. You would then have to get on the ground the second time he tells you, run or fight. I'm fat. I ain't running nowhere. I can run, but I'm not running shit. So your only option left is to fight. And that is a losing fight. Even if you beat him, you're not going to beat his 150, thousand buddies across the country that then come after you. Because, now you're a cop herder or whatever. Call my kids' dogs Nazis because they wouldn't see us without the face. Yeah, I mean, and that's what they are. I told the lady in the ER that. I said, you understand that Gestapo was just following policy, right? She said, we're not having this conversation. They know it, but it's like what I'm talking about now. So I won't wear a mask, period, because if I do, I understand if I justify it today, that makes it easier for me to justify it tomorrow for whatever's next. So in their minds, they have justified it because it's their job. It's trying to get this in my head in the way of this light. Because it's policy, right? So when they're told that they have to jab, well, they'll justify that. Well, it's my job, and I'm just not doing it. I'm not going to do it. I don't suggest you do it. You do what you want to do. I'm not playing your games. I'm just not doing it. Now they're talking about, this Moderna needs a Not a second booster, but a third booster shot. God, there's light everywhere in this house. I mean, so what that means is that because you guys have, if this thing is as rampant as they say it is, my studio's clogged up with shit, so while we're going in my garage studio. But if this thing is as transmissible as what they say it is, because you all have chosen to not let your body take care of it, and you have relied on the science, it causes it to mutate, which means that this will be like the annual flu, and you'll have to have a booster every year. I'm not doing it. This shit's been going on for 18 months. A year of that, Christy worked in a 400-room hotel dealing with hundreds of people a week. Hundreds. From all over the country. From all over the world, in fact. We're fine. Maybe it's just by chance. Maybe we've been lucky. Hell, we could have had it because I thought, well, I was going to die last November before all this stuff started. So you're talking 2 years ago. We had got sick in October and November. She did, and I did also, for about 3 or 4 days, just completely on our asses. But I mean, I've seen I mean, how much evidence do you need to see before you? How much evidence do you need to see yourself before you say, I'm just not playing your games? You know, if I held up a cross and said, you must believe this or else, I mean, and that's what it is. It's becoming government's becoming a religion to people. They put government above all else. And you know, these Trump supporters that, you know, Trump was in Alabama or Georgia the other day, made a big speech and talked about how everybody needs to go get this thing, and everybody booed him. But they're still there supporting his ass. I mean, they haven't figured out the game. You know, the game is that government is inherently against the people. But when people support that government, not because the government does what is right or does what the constituents want or does what is best for the people, but because you just are against those people over there, I mean, it's a recipe for disaster. There's no fixing this mess, not as a whole. I seen a meme that was the U.S. flag, and it said something about, I bet you won't post this somewhere, blah, 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 blah. And I asked the person, I'm like, why would you repost that? Why don't you repost a picture of you or some people and dare people to repost that? Or what about your state flag? Because that's what's most important. It doesn't matter if the country burns to the ground. It doesn't matter. What matters is the people in the states. That's what's most important. Coming back up to see me. Shit, I want to come see you, Crazy Dave. You might be the only person I don't make it out to, though, man. I don't know about going out there with them crazy Westies. So Liberty Chick is going to be starting her own YouTube channel for makeup soon. How to apply different makeups and do all that thing. And I'm going to force her into it. And we might do a channel called Liberty Inc. Do something on it. I don't know. We're just going to have fun with this shit because they're going to continue to give us strikes and take us down and mute us. So we might as well use every outlet we can. In order to do that, though, the most optimal way to do that is to get 1,000 viewers. Because once you have 1,000 viewers, you can mobile stream. Well, I can mobile stream now on here because of StreamYard. Don't ask me how I'm doing it, but I am. That's going to feedback. That's going to feedback. But anyway, I don't know how I got so far. I don't know how far I got so far off topic about Afghanistan and China, but that's what's going to happen. And we already know it's happening. China has already got the mineral rights to mine lithium and cobalt. But those are two pretty important rare earth metals. Back up, doggy. Come on. Hey. Okay, I love you too. I love you too, Venus. I love you too. Say hi. Now, no, you gotta come get her kisses. Kid eaters, get away. Mommy, help me. Oh, I love you too, doggies. I love you too, doggies. Come on. They're like babies. But I think that you know, people are blaming Coda Boy 32, a gun tuber, right? Makes a video about the pull out of Afghanistan, how the stupid son of a bitch Biden did all this shit. Trump had planned on having everybody out months ago. The plan was in place. Biden extended it until September to be some kind of like memorial to the September 11th attacks or something. Like he pulls out, you know what I'm saying? Like some virtue signaling bullshit. So this was going to happen no matter what. There was nothing that could have been done to stop from happening what happened except taking the weapons with us. We never take all the weapons with us. We always leave the weapons behind for the rebels. Doesn't matter. Look at every war in history. We left the shit behind. We take it all over there and then all just left behind. Now, if you're a U.S. soldier and you lose your nods on an op in the middle of the night, you're going to get court-martialed probably. You're going to lose rank, pay, all kinds of shit. But I mean, if you're the president, you can just say, fuck it, leave it all. We don't, it's just $8 billion in arms. It's cool. I seen a photo today of the ISIS or Taliban, I'm sorry, one of the two, whichever. They're all the same to me. Elite fighting team, kitted out completely, head to toe, M4s and all, nods, ballistic helmets, vests, everything. U.S. equipment, raising an ISIS flag in Afghanistan. And it looked like they were trying to do it in a similar fashion to what was the one famous picture of them raising a flag, the 4 or 5 guys? Where's it from? Shit, total brain fart. Oh my god. What are you looking for?
I need 5 pennies.
That's my wiener.
No, it's not. It's your damn pocket. Stop it. Where do you have any change in your pocket?
No, I don't get it. Oh. Somebody help me out here. Yeah, I need one too. What was the famous picture of the soldiers raising the flag? Normandy. There you go. And it looked just like that, like they were imitating it, but they were completely kitted out in U.S. gear, boots and all. I mean, everything. And I was like, these son of a bitches. And look what they're doing here. I mean, they're banning Russian ammo here. How much ammo do you think we left over there? I mean, I bet there's millions of rounds of ammo. We just kitted them up for the next 20 years of war, at least. And we're not going to change those people's minds. Those people believe in their God. They have heart. They believe in their way of life. You will not defeat that. You can kill every fucking last one of them that are fighting today, and you'll have to face the same force tomorrow of next gen that come up. You can't defeat people that believe, because even if you kill them, they still win. They believe in their God. They look forward to going to their heaven. You can't defeat that. No matter what, they win. They kill you, they win. You kill them, they still win. So how do you defeat that? You don't. But you know, like I think I said it yesterday. You can't. If we went back in time here in this country and plucked the founders out of the 18th century and put them in the 21st century, they would go ape shit crazy too and want to kill you. The war was never for what they said it was for. It was never about terrorism. The only terrorist was our soldiers. There's some truth for you. We invaded 2 countries that did nothing to us at the time. Afghanistan did nothing to us at the time. Iraq did nothing to us at the time. Coincidentally, Saddam Hussein quit accepting the petrodollar and went to the euro 10 months prior to us offing his ass after 50 years of killing people. I mean, we'd already been in there once and took the country and we did nothing. We just blew his shit up, then rebuilt it and said, hey, don't do this no more. Then weapons of mass destruction. We're how many years now? 20 years into it? They still ain't found out one damn weapon of mass destruction. I know they all went to Syria, right? Oddly enough, they didn't find them there either. And now, like Chrissy said, now we're weapons of mass destruction. We just left $8 billion worth of weapons of mass destruction in Afghanistan. And you still shoot the illegals off the fence. Was it Iwo Jima?
That's what you said.
Iwo Jima, okay. Yeah, I think you are. I think TLR is right. Try to get your phone to spell what, man, happening. What's up, Brastar? How you doing, man? Huh? And now we have all these border jumpers coming over. Now they're importing from damn Middle East. And notice on those planes, they did a world record flight. Like I think it was a C-17 had 800 people on board. I bet they were social distancing, wasn't they? Not one of them had a mask on, and all that shit's coming this way. You think they're going? They're probably. I would say that those people will do whatever they're told to do because they're just going to be thankful to be here. But our soldiers, the terrorists, our soldiers invaded a country that had done nothing to us. Those people picked up weapons and fought back. That's what that is. People from other countries around there, from Czechoslovakia and some other countries, came in to help them because they seen what was happening. Just like if Canada was to be invaded, you wouldn't pick up by China. You wouldn't pick up a rifle and go to Canada and help them boys out if they asked you, or vice versa. China come here, spread some communism. I guess you're just going to do what they tell you to do. So you wouldn't be considered an insurgent. How are you going to fucking insurgent when you live there? Get out of here, man! Like they've played the people like puppets for the last decades, and now these dudes are deemed heroes, war heroes. Marcus Luttrell put out a statement the other day. Send us back, something to this effect. Send us back. We'll get the job done. We'll go as far as the American people want us to go. Motherfucker, you went there twice or three times, didn't you? You went there, got all shot up, went back. I mean, what do you want to do? What'd you say?
I said, because now we got pussies in the military. Ain't nobody, wanting to really die. You see all them TikTok videos about, I'm here for the money. I
don't think anybody wants to die. I mean, even the guys over there, I don't think they want to die, but they believe in their God. Like me, I've made peace with God. If I die, it doesn't matter to me. It does matter in the sense of my family and shit. But if it comes down to doing what you tell me to do or death, I'm not going to jail, and I'm not doing what you're going to tell me to do. So what's my third option? And that is an option. You always had the last say. It may not always be the best option. Maybe death ain't the best option for all people. Regardless, you still have the last say. Or you can bend over, throw some sand in your ass, let government pound the shit out of you as they can continue to do, and you're going to get what you got. What? I heard from the other day. What's up, K250 Monster? What are we talking about? Whatever's on our minds, that's what. No, we're on a StreamYard. When y'all want to pop in, you can. We can post a link. Or putting them at the actual hotel. Yes, it's low key. Yeah, it ain't low key being invaded. We are being invaded, man. We've been invaded by fascist communists that were born here. We've been invaded by ideals and greed more than anything. It's sick. For all of y'all that didn't hear it earlier, Friday, Barricade Garage is going to be on here. He's going to do a split screen with me. Tourist shakes my windows. About 10 miles from maybe. We might stop out there, Brass Tard. Make sure I have your. If I don't, I think I have your phone number already. If I don't, though, send it to me because we're getting ready to go on a road trip. And like what we're doing, man, like you guys can do it. And it's scary as shit. I'm stressed out about it. I'm stressed because shit could go completely wrong with this. We don't have a ton of money to move. We haven't even figured it out yet how much we have. Well, we owe a bunch on the house still. Then half of whatever's left of that is what I have. The other half goes to my mother because it was her house. Long story. Regardless, that was the deal I made. That's what I'm sticking with. So we're not going to have a lot of cash to do this, but we're still going to do it because the option of staying is worse than the option of leaving. Worst case scenario, if we leave, we wind up homeless. Okay. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Anywhere. Yeah, Christy said we're going to buy a camper. We can live anywhere. Buddy, there, 20 minutes of base and don't you know if we would still. Do you believe in PTSD? Hold on, I got you. I'm sorry, I had to yell through that. Don't y'all hear it. I mean, like, and for real, Afghans looking like a place to move to. Shit, I bet we'd have a good life over there. Take about 50 grand over there. We'd have a big old mud hut. Little mini wall of China around it made out of mud and sand and shit. Yeah, that's what they build their houses and stuff out of. Flying old Airstream. I seen an old Airstream the other day for sale, man. No, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do exactly, Crazy Dave. We're gonna have to figure it out quick though, because we don't have much time. But we'll figure it out, dude. Like, life always works out for the best. You know what I mean? No matter what you do, it always works out for the best. You just have to know that it will. Failure is not an option. Huh?
Head of NSA said we should all go there.
Yeah, I seen that. Everybody that is head of NSA said everybody's unvaxxed should be sent to Afghanistan. Shit, send me. I like to have me a nice up armored Hummer with a turret on top and a 50 and somebody to run it. I don't agree with what the Taliban's doing when it comes to certain things. I don't agree with chucking people off of buildings. I don't agree with the things they do to women. I don't agree really with anything in their system. I do agree. Well, it's worse now than them because we took all their weapons. It just sickens me that people want to continue to point fingers. So laying the blame where it lies. And who did it? It's at the politicians. It's always the politician at the top. The only time that happens in our society that's been made okay is when it comes to politics. You know, if you're a truck driver and you kill somebody in a company truck, it doesn't get blamed on your boss. It gets blamed on you for whatever you did wrong. Not in politics, though. You could be in the military and do some shit, and it'll go straight up the ladder because the guy at the top that gave the order. It's not just the orders; it's the order followers.
The president said, "I have PTSD first, I believe it." And so does everyone I've lost one. But is that PTSD or is it something else? I mean, I understand what you're saying. It could be, but just like the term patriot, it's watered down so much. It's used so loosely by all these real fucking crazy nuts out here that it makes someone who might really have it. You know what I mean? Maybe,
but I had a buddy before PTSD was even known what it was. And I had a doctor speak with me about this at one time when I was younger. It's called intermittent explosive disorder. Have you ever heard of this? It's PTSD without the memory part of it. So you would just fucking explode you might be cool for a year, 2 years, and then you just fucking explode. It's a real thing. Look it up. It's called intermittent explosive disorder. So is it really, post-traumatic stress syndrome? I get it. I get the thought behind it. I get what can set people off. I get all that. But is that really what it is? Or is it just a thought in your back of your mind that you have this thing, so when something happens, you automatically default to it happened because of that thing? Or was it because you couldn't control your emotions or your actions or whatever else? And then if we know that this thing exists, we know the cause of it is, in certain cases is orders you were given that you followed through with. Does it really then become a problem of everybody's? Weird conversation. Right. Pre-traumatic stress disorder. Yeah, no doubt. What's up, Egger Fishing? How you doing? Postpartum depression. Right.
No, I'm sorry.
I don't buy it either.
No, something's wrong with you.
Right.
Before.
That's my point. That's my point. If you can't control your emotions, it is like anything else. It's a you problem. It's not, you can't blame it on this. We never even heard of post-traumatic stress disorder until this war. It wasn't, you never heard of it after the, what was it called? What was the first Iraq war called? I know somebody's going to get mad at me. But, I'm sorry if you're mad at me for it. It's just how I kind of feel about it.
I think that we find an answer for everything when some things don't have any other answer other than we're just built that way. I've seen some shit that I find hard to deal with. I mean, seeing a guy get blowed up in, Afghanistan is not going to make you drown your kid for screaming at you. I don't buy into it in that way. Maybe I'm not explaining myself correctly. Probably not. Right. Yeah, I remember that.
Yes.
Right, but I think it was different back then. Though when they called it shell shock, it was like people's inability to act, right, because they were actually in shock. I don't think they try to combine just like that. They try to combine things that are similar, but they're not the same. Screw the NRA. NRA's been burying people for 100 years. They're taking your money to fight against you. No, I get it, Crazy Dave. I get it's deeper than that, though. But here's the thing: if this thing, post-traumatic stress syndrome, was never diagnosed or the term was never came up with, what would you call what you have? An anger problem. Like you just said, ask the people I've lost it on. It's an anger issue. It's an issue controlling your own anger. And like you don't, being able to harness that anger is the thing. You don't need to necessarily control it, but harness it, knowing to use it. Child abuse. And I'm not saying, why would you guys mess around with that? Come on, you're gonna get the dogs fighting. What's wrong with you guys? You're like a little kid. You are.
I said, what is it?
Yeah, I know. You was involved in it.
I am a little fucking kid.
Come here, puppy dog. Come here. Come here, Diesel. Whoa, shit. Quit. That's my head. You're eating my head, dude. Hook doesn't open now. Okay. You gotta get it.
Hey, come on, puppy dogs. Get down. Let's go.
He just pounced on me.
You on my side?
Years of anger management classes. Dude, if you went to 15 years of anger management, it didn't help you. You got a real problem. The problem with anger management is that a lot of times it's not you. It's everybody else. They teach you ways. Cause I've been in anger management. I did a year and a half of this, call it men's program. Men's with a D. AMENDS. Men's. When I broke my ex-wife's foot. And I was like, yeah, this is cool. Y'all are teaching me this shit, but you don't have the world in here with me. So the anger management shit they're really no good. Yeah, doggy kisses. Flashbacks to a former life. I mean, it's not. We shouldn't have excuses though. If we blame everything on some excuse, we find it's just a justification. Well, I got mad because of PTSD. Well, I wore a mask because it all falls in lines together, man. Just accept it. Okay, I'm this way. I have issues with this thing. I'm going to try to stay out of these situations. And if I can't, then I'm going to use it for good. Anger can be used for good. Violence solves everything. There ain't a problem in the world that violence won't solve. Guaranteed. Might not be the best solution for somebody, but it's a solution. I told Schmick I didn't want to fix it. I have. So if you don't want to fix it, then how you blame on what you do on PTSD? That don't even make no sense. He doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Like that makes no sense, Dave. That's a you issue, Crazy Dave. I've even said it to you. Like you need to. There's ways of saying shit that you won't get your door kicked in for saying. Not everything needs to be expressed. Like people say stuff around me, and I know what they're saying, but they don't even have to say all the words because we know that people are listening at all times. It's their way of teaching YouTube bend over anger habits for reason. I don't disagree with that, Travis. I don't disagree with the man. But I at one time had an anger issue. Like my solution to everything was to fight. But Now that I'm older, I don't have that option because I don't heal as fast. I mean, I'm a bomb ready to go off at any time. All says, sounds like we all have issues. Well, why are none of us moving closer to each other? That's what I want to know. I'm telling you, we need to come up with a plan to move closer together. And it's all this being far away shit just don't work. Come on, puppy dog. I don't want a dog, you piece of shit eater. You're a shit eater. Go away, nasty ass. We seen you yesterday. Diesel's a good dog. He don't eat shit. These two are the dumbest dogs ever. They're not dumb. They're good dogs. Come here, Diesel. Come here, buddy. What's he gonna pounce me again? Come here, buddy. No, don't eat me. No, but no. Hey, I can't do both of you. I can only love one at a time. Hey. Say hi. Look how big him getting. He's a big boy. Oh, my Diesel's a good boy. He's a good boy. He's a good puppy dog. Your mommy's gonna kick your ass. You're in her clothes. Get down, Nova. Get down. Get down. You're on mommy's clean clothes. She's gonna yell at me for it. I don't know, guys, but I want to jump off here. I gotta find something to do. I'm bored because I had nothing to do today. I had something to do, but before. I'm back. My bad. I made a mistake. Sorry. But anyway, you all can do it too. Sell your shit. Let's move somewhere. Yeah, well, actually, I started to wipe my camera off because I noticed how dirty it was. I thought it was the face of my screen, but it was the right over top of the camera. So I want to jump off here anyway, man. You guys have a good day. We look forward to Friday. I can't wait to talk to Barricade. I think we're going to try to do like an interview style stream. Talk about how he grew up, family life, where he started getting in trouble, why he went to prison, when he got out, when he started seeing what was wrong in the world, and when he decided to change that, or how he decided to change his life to get where he is now. So it should be good. I talked to him on a text a little bit ago, so we're going to take him on Thursday, and I'll know time Thursday, and I'll let you all know then what time it'll be on Friday. So also Friday, I have to drive my boy to in Indianapolis. So it'd probably be early-ish, but y'all, stay safe and have a good day. We can't focus on what you can affect. You can affect your life. You can affect the people around you. But if you continue to stay where you're at and you continue to bitch and complain and you don't start to move or start to interact or start to build or start to consolidate or start to plan, but nothing's going to get accomplished. And I, for one, I'm not going to die knowing I did nothing. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to be here 20 years from now being like, well, fuck, I wish I had done something then because I wouldn't be where I'm at now. I'm not going to be that guy. And if it's got to be me alone, then it's just how it's going to be. But I'm not going to be that guy. And I don't think anybody should be. I think every day that it's like our government has declared a war against you. Hey, quit that shit. They've deemed you the terrorist now. They've made up these ghosts called terrorists for the last 2 decades. And now they're claiming that you're one of these ghosts just because, for no other reason than what you believe or what you won't stick in your body or what you won't listen to or how you act or what you refuse to do. It's a bunch of bullshit. Anyway, have a good day, y'all. Oh, look, there he is. There's Barricade.
Hold on.
Christy, I'm running in here. I didn't even see you on
I knew you were about to end it and you weren't looking at the screen. So I knew you were about to say, okay, well, I'll see you guys later.
Send me the link. We can do that now. Oh, cool, man. Hang on one second. I'll send you the link right now, man.
That one?
No. Hold on 1 second.
You told me to put that in there, so I didn't.
I'll send it link right now.
Right now?
Yeah, hang on 1 second, guys. I'll send this link.
No,
Cool.
I'm gonna get these two out of here.
Yeah, you gotta get dogs
Come
out.
on.
We grab a Mountain Dew also, please.
Come on, hold it out. Boy.
Just give him a minute. I just sent it to you. I just texted it to you. I could have just posted it in here. I'm not very bright though. Or I would have just posted it in here for you. It might be easier if I do it that way. I sent it to him. I'll see if I can post it to you in case it don't work. And then there's the link right there, Ray. If it makes it easier, on hit it right there, and then it'll say like enter studio.
Tell them I'll be quiet back.
Yeah, Liberty Chick says she wants to stay quiet. Yeah, my main channel got a strike on it. KX250 Monster. I got monetized and demonetized and strikes when there was no new videos posted. I posted that DC bomber stuff and they took it down, and then they started giving me strikes.
3E2024.
They would never allow me to run for office. Ever.
Selling the property in Oregon. Feel hard to say?
Wonder why.
Yeah. I even closer to.
Must be getting desperate on that bullshit he was talking. Probably if I want to hurt his old ass. Talking about it's just a workaround. It's just a workaround. Huh? Oh well, I can't do it right now though. You mean the birds aren't real, isn't it? I don't know. Let's see what it says, text you, anyway.
Oh, Thunder Ranch.
Yeah, right. That dude,
His buddy.
he's just another one of those people, man. They believe what they've been told and they follow that belief to the very end. There's Barricade right here. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up?
Nothing. Nice to see you. Thanks for pulling this.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. We cool people.
So how's life going?
Oh, life is great. I can't complain.
Where do you actually
that's
live?
I'm in Virginia.
Oh, Virginia. Okay.
Yeah, Christy's daddy was from Norfolk.
Nothing.
Oh, out in the 757. He from down that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was wild out there.
Yeah, it was. We went and visited one time since her and I was together before he passed away, and it's not for me. It's too, I don't know even what to call it. It's like, Cincinnati has its hoods, but you can go down there and nobody's going to bother you. Like there, I felt completely uncomfortable the whole time we were there, even out on the beach, which felt completely uncomfortable. It's a really weird setting from one side of the state to the other side of the state.
Why you
Completely different.
say you feel uncomfortable? Just the people or the general vibe of the area?
I think it was probably more the vibe, but it had a lot to do with the people. It was just different. Like everybody, like I don't know how to explain it. I'm just one of those people. Like I just want to be left alone. It was almost like everybody wanted to be in your business, even if you wasn't with them. You know what I mean? Like they wanted to see what you were touching or talking about or doing or want to be close to you. It was just really weird.
Yeah.
So what's your story, man? Like how was you raised and how did you get into what you got into to wind up going to prison? And then what
what woke you up to what's going on in the world, and just with the government and how they're playing the people? How did that happen in your life?
I mean, basically, I mean, I've told the story a lot of times. A lot of people probably know, but basically, I grew up in foster care. I got adopted. I got adopted when I was 8, and from there I had a a regular middle class, lower middle class upbringing out in Maryland. I mean, I just gotten a little things here and there. Nothing too, nothing too wild while I was out in that side where I grew up at. But I did some messed up stuff and some shit I'm not proud of, but ended up getting kicked out the house, and that's when a lot of problems that I created for myself started. Moved to the other side of town, got down with a local gang, made some noise out there, made a name for myself. Then I went to after I got into it with my mentor, then I went to out to Virginia, and shit was wild from there. That's where I caught my charge, and that's what initially set me down. So I mean, yeah.
Is that when you started seeing, the manipulation and from the top to the bottom? I mean, because I look at it kind of like the politics is just a show, in my opinion, and it's like the politicians are being played by somebody, and then the politicians are then, because of that, playing us, and in the end it only winds up oppressing us all. They try to keep pitting us against each other.
I mean, I pretty much seen it. I didn't think too much on it when I was running all wild and acting all crazy. It basically, things started to occur to me, after when I was doing my bid. You have extra time to sit down and actually look at your life, and you reflect back on things and in certain situations, things you could have did differently. I mean, it was at that moment when I started to see things for how they really were. And this is why I often say why I felt more free when I was locked down than when I was running wild out in the street. Because I got to see my surroundings, even though I had been taken out of the equation, and I got to see people and things and relationships for what they really were. And it's like I had a clear mind to be able to do that. And I feel like in order to really understand the situation, you have to be removed from that situation in some capacity to look at it from the outside looking in like, damn, that's fucked up. But at the same time, I allowed myself the opportunity to see these things and to actually grow from it, unlike a lot of my peers and people who still wanted to do dumb shit. People who mentally didn't grow from the experiences and life lessons that had been thrown their way. They just wanted to keep doing off the wall weird shit. So the more, this is why I often talk about it, the more adverse things in my life that happened to me, it's like the more I grew. And now, you see me gardening, and I look at nature, and nature teaches us that we do need adversity to grow. Like certain trees, you got to stress them in order for them to grow. Certain fruit trees, it's a process. So that's why I often flip out on people who say they want solutions, but they really don't want to go through anything. They just want something to be handed to them. That solutions for a lot of people consist of voting Republican or Democrat. But we're looking, I noticed back in prison, we were looking for a political solution for a family problem, a immoral problem. Like we're not built for solutions. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that aside, I feel like I kind of got off topic and started talking about some old other shit. You got to forget. I told you my people came down. That's why I'm in the truck doing this. But
No, you're fine.
yeah, to answer your main question, it really started with the sovereign citizenship situation. There was a paper and that was going around the cell block, and I remember a homie on the other side of the compound. He had a copy of it, and the GDs had their own copy of it. So I basically had I damn near started a war over getting that paperwork because people were talking about ways you can get yourself out of prison. You know, when you went there, that's something you wanna, you wanna look into. I forget the exact name of that document, but the dude was talking about how he went into court, how he didn't answer, how he would answer certain questions a certain way, how he would wear a name tag, that whole thing. And that was new to me. So from there, it was like I just started looking deeper and deeper into some of the things that I thought were concrete, that I thought were righteous and just, like especially with the legal system. And then I remember getting my hands on the copy of Bill Cooper's book, Behold a Pale Horse, in there, which is actually on the prison ban list, and you can't have it in there. And yeah, from there it was just like, I spiraled out on, what some people would call conspiracy theories. So,
but a lot of it's not conspiracy theory. A lot of it's conspiracy fact. And when it comes to like the sovereign citizen movement, to be a sovereign, you can't be a citizen, and to be a citizen, you're a subject. So, right. So if you look at excuse me.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to say. See, I didn't peep the wordplay that was involved with that. A lot of people don't. So I wasn't privy to how they airbend certain things. But yeah, I see how when you sit there and say you're a sovereign citizen, one cannot be a sovereign citizen because the two go against each other.
Right.
You can't be a citizen of the United States of America, the corporation, and be sovereign.
Right. And because you're sovereign is why we have rights. The founders of this country were all sovereign men, and the foundation of the country is built off that sovereignty. Because we're sovereign, we have rights. Because we're sovereign, we have freedom. And then it expands outwardly from the people. So you're sovereign within yourself, but then your community is also sovereign within the state's sovereign within the union. And everything has rights, but it all comes back to the people, and all that's been erased away through what they call legality. Like our criminal justice system. I never gave our government any authority over me. When now we have all these policies that, are in our Constitution, we only allow for government to create laws that coincide with natural law and with the Constitution. But now they just create these policies, and you're going to do what we say or else. And we never give them the authority to do that. And now, since they have the force, backed by the government, they do what they want to do. We listen or else. You're going to do what we say, or we're going to throw you in a smaller cage. I tell people now, like when I was in London and I come out the cell block, just because I didn't see a fence didn't mean it wasn't there. It was still there. And that's what, we're today. You try to leave the country today, you can't leave. Are you free?
Mm-hmm.
Like freedom has become a subjective term in our society. To me, I think we're all slaves. To some people, they use the thing, we're the freest country in the world. Well, the house slave was the freest slave on the plantation, but he still wasn't free.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, that's how they kind of play, like they bend reality to get people to see certain things. And I feel like that's why I carried that same mentality, or even though I matured and grew, I carried that same mentality I had when I was running wild, just over into the kind of political speech that I do. Because if you think about it, it's the same is dealing with gangs, like political parties and gangs. It's the same thing. It's just with political parties, they coerce you, and they basically, I say political parties are worse than gangs in a way that the things they get people to go along with can actually impact everyone's life, not just in a certain, with a certain demographic or in a certain neighborhood community. you know, etc. So I mean, it's the same concept behind it. Like, who's trying to exert more power over who, and who it's just like that's why I said I can't get with a particular party because neither party is designed to win, because all the parties do is bicker with each other back and forth, and then they trade power. So one year, for a couple years, it's Democrat. Another couple years, it's the Republican. Even now with the senators and this forced vaccine shit, you got a senator, I forget his name, what's his name, Marco Rubio or some shit like that. It's a senator saying, yo, people shouldn't be forced to take the vaccine. That's what, and people cheer that type of shit on. But what people don't understand is that person has taken the vaccine. So by default, that puts him on that side. And then at the same time, they showed you when Trump was in office that these people really aren't going to do nothing to the people who are going to actually do the imposing of said vaccine. Like your job, for instance, or the corporations, the grocery store, all they're doing is blowing hot air, just doing more of what politicians do, just in a sneaky way. You know, it's not outright, we're going to force you to take it. They'll be like, yo, free, they got to keep up this appeal of I'm with you, I'm for, you know, good cop, bad cop. You know, you one cop leave, the other cop come in, you know, with cigarettes, candy. He like, look, that guy's an asshole, okay? But what I need you to do, just help me out. Look, listen, you don't, you know, here go a cigarette. You want some coffee? Then that guy leave, the other guy come in and start fucking you up. You know, that's what they're doing to us. It's like I see it. It's like I don't get why people are still so entrenched with this Democrat Republican shit, but they are, and
I don't understand it either, man. Especially now, you know, up until especially, you know, when all this COVID shit happened. Up until then, I understood why they possibly didn't see what was going on. But once that happened and everything that followed, like, how could you not see it? And then even today, they're still making it about, you know, they've given the Oval Office, just as an example, they've given the Oval Office so much power that we have people in the streets beating the shit out of each other for their preferred form of tyranny. And that's all it is. It's you know, there's not two separate teams at every level of government fighting for the people. It's government against the people, and then there's some people that are stupid enough to fall for it still.
Right.
So, but in the end, it all, you know, we know how it ends. It ends with, you know, complete oppression of the people in the end. I mean, and people don't have lines now. You know, they're not willing to sacrifice, like you said a minute ago. They're unwilling to sacrifice to stand up for what they believe in, and a lot of it has to do with God. You know, I'm not a religious person in the sense I don't go to church. I don't claim to be any certain religion, but I am a spiritual person. I do believe in God. I do believe in Jesus. But all that's been taken out of our lives to the point that people will put government and what they're told to do in front of their beliefs, even if it goes against their religious beliefs.
Right.
You know, and what does that say about the people? Like, the people have just become cowards, man, in this country.
My bad about that. I had a mosquito in here.
No, you're good.
Nah, but yeah, that's a good point you brought up though. I like that. So I don't go to church neither. And basically, you know, how I feel about that is not so much as the religion aspect, but it's a faith base. Like, I'm of the faith of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But I don't call myself a Christian, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like to apply titles. Like, Abraham didn't have a title. He was in the faith, and that wasn't a religion. But I feel like the further away we drifted from God, the more we fell for man's devices and reverse psychological operations, because we no longer looked outside of ourselves for solutions. We stuck with man, and we thought man was going to provide the ultimate solution. So when a population like that has been demoralized to that point, then you have no more warriors, because ultimately the state replaces God, you know.
Right.
And this is why people could look at what happened in Waco, Texas, and you know, say, oh, that was a cult, oh, they're terrorists. And that's why I tell people, be careful who you call a terrorist and who you say is in a cult, because those same words could come back on you at any given moment. And a perfect example of the reverse psychology psyop is the Back the Blue movement. This is why they had BLM out in the streets, and we seen what Black Lives Matter was doing. So automatically they had the setup. It was like a game of chess. They had the setup. They had Black Lives Matter on this side. Then they had the Patriots on this side. The Patriots took on a Back the Blue narrative. Black Lives Matter did the opposite. So now what you have is a bunch of people who by default have a narrative of Back the Blue, even when it goes against their own self-interest. And even when, like, I seen one report yesterday where I think it was on Brandon Tatum page. He said there will be no charges filed against the officer in the Ashley Babbitt case or some shit, like some charges were dropped. You know, the officer that shot that girl when she was, you know, on that day. So yeah. A lot of people were like, you can see the disconnect happening. Like a lot of the Back the Blue people were like, and you can see the programming start to crack. And it's like, that's why I don't buy into these narratives that they throw out there, because they push them at you and they throw them out there for a reason. And sometimes in the end, you can end up with egg on your face. You end up looking stupid.
Right. Well, I think a lot of that too, like especially the Back to Blue, is people can't even ask themselves the simple questions anymore. They have to be told what to think. You know, when I started questioning, you know, what freedom was, you know, how am I free if just a guy, because he has a gun and a badge and comes with the authority of the state, can tell me to get on the ground when I've done nothing wrong? Like, how free are you? You know, when you boil it down to the basic elements of freedom, and you then inject some guy from the state with a badge on into the situation, how free are you? You're not at all. And if you look back through history, like every atrocity committed to societies throughout history by their governments has happened at the hands of law enforcement.
Right.
Throughout all of history. And now you have, you know, the so-called patriot movement that supports the police, and the police enforce every issue that they have with government. There's not one issue anybody's ever been able to tell me that they have with government that does not involve a badge and a gun somewhere between me and the problem. There's a cop enforcement, whether it be the IRS agent, the NSA, the DEA, the ATF, the local police. There's always somebody with a badge, a gun, coming with the authority of the state that poses that problem to you. And it doesn't matter what the state tells them to do, they're going to do it. Their oath is not to the Constitution, it's not to the people, it's to the state to follow those orders. And that's what they're going to do. And that's what they keep proving.
Right. We've seen that firsthand in 2020.
Right. I mean, and the polarization is another big problem with it. You know, Black Lives Matter, after a decade of being an organization, out of nowhere, when all this COVID stuff started, and the right kind of backed off from supporting the police. And then out of nowhere, Black Lives Matter comes out with, let's defund the police, which immediately got the right supporting the police.
They do
again.
the opposite. Right. They know how to trigger a certain reaction. They got it down to a science. They know how to get you they know how to trigger the response they want out of you by making your so-called opposition take on a different stance. But at the same time, you know, when it comes to Black Lives Matter, it's like, you need to be honest. I know they're a Marxist organization, and I know what, you know, Patrice Collins done went up there and said, but Black Lives Matter aside, you need people in a nation with that type of fire. Now, if that hadn't been George Floyd and that had been directed towards these lockdowns and these vaccines, that's what keeps countries from becoming Australia. Right. You know, that's the energy. So it's like, but the divide has been so set in stone because people, they know how to herd us into our ideological pens and our political pens. When we get out of line, it's like I don't know. But I see it happening. It's just like sometimes I just don't even know how to explain it. Sometimes I can't find the words, but I see it's happening. And they show things for a reason.
Right. I get it, man, 100%. I find myself in the, like, I try to explain to people what's going on. And what I find is the more people I explain it to, the shorter my message gets. So the less information the next person will get because I've explained it so many times that I guess I don't want to say I'm getting sick of explaining it, but there comes a point where you're just like, man, like there's so many people that they not only do they not see it, they don't care enough to see it. They're too busy in the being caught in this polarization game, this political game, when the reality is if we all just join forces, we can fix the problems, but nobody really wants the problems to be fixed.
Right.
Right. And then when you start explaining, if I explain that to you today, and then I explain it to somebody tomorrow, by the time I get to the guy on the third day, I've already shortened my message by 5 paragraphs. You know what I mean? So he doesn't get all the information. So therefore, he's probably not going to change his mind.
Right.
So, I mean, all we can do is just try to better ourselves, though, man. Like, like you've changed your life around. I've changed my life around, but yet we're still stuck with that label that we acquired sometime in our life for doing something stupid, whatever that was. And even if we've owned up to it and we've paid our debt to whoever we owe that debt to, and we've completely changed our life, we still have that label. We're still not worthy of having the liberties that some people have because the government says so and for no other reason. It's complete bullshit. And people are okay with that. And when you find they're not okay with it is when it starts to affect them. And then it's rah, rah, let's stop this. And I'm like, well, wait a second, where was you at last year, man? When, they're, and you ask people where their line is, well, when they start confiscating guns, they've been doing that shit in California for years. But you just care today because it's affecting you today. You need to care about the person next to you and not just you.
Right. That's how it happens. And that just furthers the divide. Like people look at me and tell me, oh, you a convict, oh, you a piece of shit, oh, you don't deserve to have this. And then when that shit starts happening to them, they want to go on Fox News and cry about it. They want to sit up there and have YouTube pity parties and shit, talking about how can we stop this, contact your senators and shit. I'm like, cuz you don't even care about, anybody else shit but your shit.
Right. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Like the contact your senators and congressmen shit. When people buy into that, Congress never was given the authority to have any kind of jurisdiction over the states. It's up to the states to make their own laws, but those laws have to follow certain criteria in order not to infringe on the rights of the people. But we've gotten so far away from that. The states make all these crazy ass laws. Now we have a federal government that is ruling over the states, through force and violence, which is exactly what the anti-federalists were against. That's why Virginia almost didn't sign the Constitution. When they drafted the new Constitution in 1787 and 1788, they almost didn't sign it. And that's why it was eventually ratified. The Bill of Rights was added to it because they were worried the federal government would eventually rule over all the states.
Right. Right. And what wasn't the Federalist Party? Didn't that spawn both Democrat and Republican Party?
Yes.
Didn't both parties come out of that one party?
Yeah. I forget what it was called now. What was it called? Was it the Federalist?
The Federalist and Anti-Federalist Party.
Well, the Federalists was like Thomas Jefferson said, they were pro having a federal government, pro-union. The Anti-Federalists were I forget the real names. It was Brutus. I forget all their names now, but they were anti-constitution. They wanted to keep the Articles of Confederation in the states. They didn't want a federal government because of what's happening today, and we see it happening. The federal government rules over the states. Whether it's a firearms law or a vaccine mandate or whatever, the federal government could say, you all have to do this, and then they do it. And then the federal government goes throughout the country in any jurisdiction enforcing these laws. And they've been able to do that because of generational acceptance. So because my parents accepted it and they normalized it, now we must accept it because it's normal. When the truth is, it's completely unconstitutional. The federal government, I live in Ohio, the federal government doesn't have any jurisdiction in Ohio. They don't have the jurisdiction to create law in Ohio. They definitely don't have the jurisdiction to enforce law in Ohio. But they do it because they've gotten away with it so long. And before it's over with, by the time this country burns to the ground, they'll probably have just a federal police state, and it'll all be federalized, which wind up going to happen. Because there's so many federal laws now, just like with guns. Like in my case, under Ohio law, I can own firearms. I can own firearms today. I can own firearms that are made in the state. I can build my own firearms and own them in the state. Federal law, there's a gray area there, so nobody knows. Nobody can answer the question. Like I've stuck my lawyer on it 3 times now in the past 5 years trying to figure this out. But the federal government says, certain felons can't own firearms. So if you could have potentially served more than 365 days in a year, we, the federal government, say that you are not worthy of owning a firearm. But Ohio says I can. So whose laws trumps whose? Most people say the federal government's law trumps the state law. The truth is it doesn't. The state law trumps the federal government's law because the federal government doesn't have the jurisdiction in Ohio to enforce that law. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's a complicated, hard thing to explain. But what we've allowed to happen is that people no longer have the state power because the federal government has consolidated that power within itself and now enforces it throughout the country. And that's why the Oval Office, as an example, has the power it does today. People are fighting about somebody who's just a representative of the country. The president's creating executive orders that affect you and me both. And we're, 1,000 miles away from each other. How does that happen in a free nation? It just happens through polarization, you know what I mean? And people believing that these political parties or these political positions have the power to do this because we've allowed them to consolidate that power over time. Right. And in the end, we're all going to be oppressed from it, man. And it's a shame that people can't look past the bullshit. Like BLM as an example. Like I asked those guys, I try to have conversations with them. And then when you start asking them the hard questions, like, how do you know how much more oppressed you are than I am if you've never been me? Because they'll start naming all things that happened to them. They've been beat down by cops or they had this issue or that issue. I'm like, well, I've had a lot of those same issues. Like, I've been beat up by
everybody get their ass whooped by cops. And for real, if you want to be honest, people look at the police brutality shit happening out here behind the G wall. It's like 10 times worse. Cops will run up in your cell and duff you out. The COs, no one gets outraged about it because they haven't been told to. Is not. It might come, but right now it doesn't fit the narrative. So it's not being programmed into people's heads. You're not being shown footage from inside a prison showing you a bunch of COs beating the shit out of somebody. Right. That day may be coming, but I just feel like all our responses are programmed to a certain degree, and we all see what's happening. They show it to us on the TV, and even if we don't watch TV, we have those people that we watch online or the alternative channels. They're covering what they see on the TV. And then from there, we split into our individual pens. We go to our different cell blocks, as I'm gonna start calling them now. And it all feels scripted, like this shit is written out. So it's like, that's why I feel like I've already been through all this before. That's why when they was like, yo, when they opened up the gate to the pen, it was like, you free. I'm like, man, I done been through this shit before. They force vaccinate you in prison. If you don't get the shot, you can't be a part of general population. They monitor your phone calls, so you can't just sit there and talk on an open line, just like how they doing out here. It's the Patriot Act 24/7, surveillance everywhere. They read your mail. You get your mail, it's already open and has already been read. You have a banned book list, a list of books that you can't buy, and they better not catch them in your cell. So it's like no firearms, no pit, no none of that. So it's like, I've been there, done that already. Everybody's just now catching up to the outrage. That's why I'm not depressed. I'm not, and I refuse to be oppressed. You know, like like these people, you can't oppress me.
Right.
Like I refuse to be in that mind state. Like it's crazy to see what's happening with people right now and to see the current state of mind that a lot of people are in and how they can fall for these different narratives. But when it comes to me, I marvel at it and then I just rejoice with myself because at the end of the day, I'm good because I know that I personally have morals that I stand on and I'm always 10 toes down. And a man feels a lot better when he can hear about some bullshit coming his way and know what he's going to do when the bullshit comes. You know, that don't really have to be explained, but a lot of people, you know, they're flimsy. They waver in the wind. They go whichever way the wind blows. You know, they're going to feel however they're taught to feel. They don't, their foundation isn't solid. It's like built on sand or something. So a wave can come up and they'll just move back and keep moving back. The goalposts keep moving. They keep moving along with it. I'm rooted. I'm rooted. And you either gonna have to burn me out the way or you gonna have to go around me. You know,
Right.
so it's like and it's because I have that mentality. Because I had that mentality, it's like I can't, I'm not oppressed and I refuse to be depressed about it. I used to be, but it's just not worth it. It's not worth it.
I get it, man. But now, like with this mask thing, they're trying to push you in a position. You know, right now they're doing it with the medical field right now, which I just recently found out that all in Ohio, all medical buildings, whether it be a hospital, doctor's office, or whatever, you have to now put on a face covering in order to go in. I got bit by a spider or something the other day, and I went to the ER, and way out in the country, this country ass ER, way out in the middle of nowhere. And I go walking.
Wow, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was like on my leg, man, but it's like it's eating a hole in my leg, bro. Like I got a hole in my leg.
What the fuck? Y'all got them broiler cruises out there.
Yeah, yeah. So, but we don't know what happened. We're just assuming because the way the wound looks, it looks like it was a spider bite. Then it started out as nothing, and I just got this big ass hole in my leg. But I went to the ER. So when all this shit first started happening a year and a half ago, I went to my doctor and I'm like, hey man, I need an exemption. He's like, from what? I'm like, face coverings. He's like, why? I was like, because I'm allergic to bullshit. And he wrote me an exemption for face covering. So I have a legit doctor's note that says that I can't wear any kind of face covering. So when I went to the ER the other day, I told them this. They're like, it doesn't matter. I'm like, well, you can look it up. It's in your system because my doctor works for the healthcare provider that you are. So they looked it up and they're like, okay. So I sat out in the waiting room for 45 minutes without a face covering on, breathing all over the place. Well, then they called me back and it turned into another argument. Well, somehow I got in the back, but this whole thing ended up to where, you know, the cops come in the room and they escort me out. They still don't treat me, even though they know I have a problem. So the lady made the choice after seeing multiple nurses not wearing masks, after me pointing that out to her that these people wasn't wearing masks. So I wasn't, you know, I'm just not doing it. They chose to let me make the decision to leave. The possibility of I could, you know, people have lost limbs over brown recluse bites versus me not putting on a mask. Does that make sense? So she fell in line, even though the people around her wasn't following policy because there was a bunch of nurses that didn't have their mask up. They had them down on their neck. But because she didn't know me, I was then forced to wear a mask in order to get the treatment that I need. So it was like a position of a power play. You know what I mean? You're going to do what I say or else. And then when I wouldn't do what she said, then they brought the cops into the hospital room, which made no sense to me whatsoever. I don't know why the cops were just hanging out at the hospital. But then he escorted me out. So, but that's what they're going to push people. My point is they're going to push people into that position where, you know, if it's not the medical field, then it's going to be, you know, food. What happens when they say you have to do this thing in order to buy food? A lot of people are going to fold, man. And I'm not willing to fold today because if I fold today, I'll be able to justify folding tomorrow. So I'm just not going to deal with none of it. Like you said, I'm rooted where I stand at. It's where I stand. You're not going to convince me otherwise. If you want to play your little game and do your little thing, do all your shit over there, you're fine, you're happy, you're safe, you're vaxxed 4 times now or whatever it is, and I'm just going to live my life. But when you exile me from society because I don't choose to go with the flow, then I no longer am governed or I'm no longer bound by the rules you created for that society, which turns into a bad thing, especially if it happens on a large scale.
Right.
You know, you start telling people, especially people that, you know, that will react, that they can no longer participate in whatever part of society. These people decide, and that potentially turns out bad. I don't know how it ends up. It's just, it's all craziness. I would have never thought we'd be having conversations we're having today in this country, and it be normalized, talking about putting people in prison because they refuse to vaccinate. I mean, that's some real shit happening today that we're talking about, and it probably will happen over time.
Yeah, we'll be all right.
Yeah, I know, man. Well, we finally got our house sold though, so we're out of here. We're about to be on the road to somewhere. Next step.
No more of them Home Depot videos, man.
Yeah, bro, I'm telling you. Hey, like when you only got a little money, you can only buy a little at a time. It took time. But I mean, it only took us 3 months. We're done now. It's over with. No more Home Depot though.
Yo, I was at Home Depot every video. You just hop in the whip, and I'm like, where they going today?
Home Depot, man. Well, like I've run out of time, so I had to multitask. So if I'm just going to Home Depot, I might as well do a video while I'm going to Home Depot and talk to people. You know what I mean? That's kind of just how I did it. The rest of the time I was working on the house. So
y'all going to Tennessee?
Probably, man. We're probably gonna wind up in about 90 minutes west of Nashville. It's probably where we're gonna wind up at.
I know out here in Virginia, it's not as bad as people say it is.
Right.
Like it's not. I don't know. I mean, it's not as bad as it is in Maryland and DC, but I mean, Virginia's straight. I like Virginia.
Right. Well, the only reason I say Tennessee is we have friends down there, and where we're talking about moving. I mean, like you could build a house down there, and they would never know it. You know what I mean? Like the permit process down there almost doesn't exist. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. You know, my buddy of mine just built a is it 3 million gallons or 30 million gallons? I think it was a 30 million gallon pond. Must have been 30 million gallons because it's pretty big. And, you know, like where I live at, you'd have to have a permit to do some shit like that. Down there, they don't even know he did it. You know, some places you can't even get away with holding water like that. So that's the thing, is just try to get my kids out in the country, man, where they can ride four-wheelers and shoot guns and get away from all the nonsense as much as possible until whatever happens. Just getting out of the city is the main thing.
How was the area where you're at now? Was that bad? Was like everybody masked up walking around there?
It's about 50. Well, it just depends, man, in all honesty. Like if you're in the grocery store, it's more than 50% wear masks. I mean, now we don't get bothered too much now for wearing them. When all this first started though, man, I mean, I was getting the cops called on me twice a week over not wearing a mask. But and it's not even necessarily what's happened today. I try to look at what's going to happen tomorrow. You know, I live on a street where they could literally watch the SWAT team go from house to house and nobody would do anything. They would just watch the SWAT team go from house to house until it was their turn to get their door kicked in. And like, I don't want to be in a place like that because if the community is not willing to protect the people from the government, you know, then you have no chance of ever at any freedom whatsoever. So we're just trying to put our kids in a position where they can at least be as free as they can until something has to give in this country, man. At some point, something has to give, whether it be states seceding from the union, states suing other states to try to divorce them from the union, which is probably what really needs to happen. I'm just done with being told. I'm not going to be told what to do. You know, I'm done with the legality shit. You know, what they call legal, which is there's nothing legal about it, but they call it legal, and you have to do shit like pay property taxes. You know, you buy land for me, it then is yours. You own it free and clear. But if you don't pay for it, a guy with a badge and a gun will come take it from you, come escort you off of it, and tell you not to come back. You know, I'm just sick of being the rule by force shit. I'm sick of the or else shit. You will do as we say or else. And I don't bother anybody, man. I just want to live my life and be left alone. I want to get up. I want to go to work, make what money I make. You know, try to provide for my family. Eventually, I like to be, self-sufficient, but I'm a long way away from that. But we're going to work there. You know, that's the next step, and is buy some land somewhere and start trying to work the land, man. Make it happen. There's no option for failure.
Yeah, that's all it is. Baby steps till you get to where you need to get to. A lot of people, for real, they've been prepping for things like this. When they start talking about you won't be able to go into the grocery stores unless you get some type of mark. Like a lot of people they've been waiting for this shit to happen.
Right.
But it's like,
Well,
yeah, it's like for everybody just now catching on, or actually seeing the problems and really looking for solutions, which involve getting yourself straight and getting out the cities and trying to become self-sufficient. There is going to be a struggle now, more so now than it would have been like 2-3 years ago. But
oh yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
yeah, you just gotta get out there and do it. Put one foot in front of the other, and tell yourself you're gonna be forever forward.
Definitely. Well, we're trying to build a community, man, trying to get, like-minded people to come together. Here's what we all want. We all have similar ideals and similar wants and needs, but we're so far apart. How do you make that happen? Well, the only way you can make that happen is through sacrifice, right? So nobody's going to fix the problem. We have to fix the problem. So in order to fix the problem, we have to sacrifice. Like in our case, do you really think I sold our house and we didn't make a ton of money off the house. In fact, it's going to be rough, but I'm willing to sacrifice the house in order for a better life for my kids in the end. But when you start talking about building communities, the first thing everybody says is, well, come to where I'm at, right? That way they don't have to sacrifice. So come to where I'm at. And so instead of doing that, we were just like, you know what, we're just going to sell our place. We're going to say, hey, this is where we're probably going. If you guys have better ideas, let us know. We can all move to some place, because until we consolidate our areas of operation, I guess, or consolidate where we're at, we're not going to make any change. If you can get to one state and you can change the minds of people in 3 or 4 counties, that's a congressional seat. Could you imagine you or me in Congress? What would happen? Just one of us? It would flip the whole system upside down, because one vote that can't be bought, and one person telling people how it should be rather than how it is, could completely change the country. But it takes sacrifice, man, and people are just unwilling to sacrifice. And a lot of those preppers, you are more prepared for shit like that to happen than a lot of preppers are, in the sense that there's a part of you, and you know where that part of you is at, that is capable of things that most people could never imagine, right? Does that make sense? I'm not saying it in a bad way. You could find that part of you if you needed to. There's a lot of people that couldn't. There's a lot of people that don't know what they're capable of, and because they don't know what they're capable of, they couldn't act to their full potential, and they would wind up walking on the cattle cars. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So a lot of that prepping shit just don't, more power. I agree with it. Like, we have some preps. We're not all prepped out or nothing, but I think if anything was to really happen, the lights were to go out for some reason, a lot of those people are going to have problems.
Yeah, they are. That's why I said the other aspect of that, it's not just about prepping, owning land, being able to build on your land, put a river in there, community. That's it's your mentality. That's why I tell people, like, sharks can smell blood in the water, but you have to know how to. You just I don't know how to explain it. You just have to be strong, because there's a lot of people that have land, they have the cattle, the goat. Farmers sell out every day.
Yeah.
The farmers sell out every day, and that's part of the problem with the supply chains. But you got to know how to not freak out. Like, not you just have to have a strong mentality, and that takes experience and actually going through being met with adversity. And you got to know how to roll with the punches and handle bullshit when it pops up. I mean, there was an event that happened in Texas where I feel like I seen that play out, and it's like, when I look at things like that and the resolve certain people have, and the wherewithal and the balls they have to just, we gonna do us, and that's what they do, and then the bullshit come knocking at their door, and then you get to see how they handle it. I mean, ultimately, it sounds weird, but that's what it's gonna take. People with that type of mentality, like, we don't fold, people alone, and this is how we live. We don't bother you. But if you come at us like that, then yeah, toe tags.
Right.
Like,
and that was exactly how this country was founded. When we claimed independence from Britain, we're just like, hey, we're going to be over here living, leave us alone. And then Britain came after us. That's how the Revolutionary War started. There would have been no war. But that takes community. So, you know what I mean? Goes back to community. I mean, you can want to be an individual and live forever for free, but unless you have people to protect you around you, or that are willing to put their life on the line for you, and that know the difference between right and wrong, and don't recognize the authority of the government as the ultimate authority. They put God as their ultimate authority. It's a lose-lose. You cannot beat government on your own, man.
Right.
And it sucks. It's that way, but it's become that way because of what we have accepted over generations.
Yep.
So I appreciate your time, man. I'm gonna let you go because I know you got people over there, don't you?
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on here, though, man. Nice talking to you.
It ain't no problem. Like I said, you got my number. You just hit me up anytime you want to chat or send a text if I have time.
Yes, sir. Will do, man. I appreciate you, brother.
All right.
Where Liberty man?
Where Liberty chick at?
I think she's in another room. I don't know. She's listening. She's listening to us somewhere.
No, I'm
right here.
She's right here.
I'm listening.
Nah, you was offended in my impression.
What is that?
Was you offended of his impression of you?
No, not at all.
No,
we was pretty good and friendly.
Yeah, I was laughing so hard I had tears coming out of my eyes.
We were at Kroger, weren't we?
Yeah.
When it happened. But I tell you, I got a lot of looks. I was listening to him throughout Kroger, and everyone was looking like, what the hell?
What, you have me on the speakerphone?
No, I'm on my mobile, so she's just standing next to me. Here, take my phone.
I don't want to get on there right now.
Oh, she don't want to show her face right now. She don't have her.
That's all right. I just wanted to say what's up though. Like, don't take it personal. Like, I talk to everybody, but
Nah, we know, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing a good thing.
Yep.
You're doing a great thing. Somebody actually emailed me the other day and asked me about you. They're like, do you think, I forget how they worded it. I don't want to misspeak for them. Basically, why are you getting to say the things that other people get kicked off YouTube for? And I'm like, why do you give a shit? He's getting to do it, so who gives a shit? If you agree with him, why do you care?
You can't do nothing to offend me, BG.
Yeah, we're not offendable.
All right, challenge accepted.
Hey, don't you start talking about my girl Gay Note. I will get offended about that shit. You leave her out of it.
All right, yo, let me get on in this house.
All right, man. Have a good day, brother. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you.
Y'all take it easy.
You too, bud. See you.
Yeah, I tried to stay in there so you didn't hear me talking. Because I would have not butted in, but I might have said something. Did you end the whole thing?
No, I didn't end it. I'm still on there.
Oh, okay.
We'll do another one some other time, guys, so you guys can
be unoffendable.
Ask him some questions. I didn't, I knew he had people over there, so I didn't want to bother him too much with a bunch of questions and everything. I was just kind of letting him talk. But I mean, what I really did mean to ask him was, what he thought about, what's the way of fixing the problem? I mean, it's obvious the guy's changed his life no matter what he did in the past, but he's still not accepted in society. Chemo, what, me?
Yes, Top Beat said, how's chemo's doing? Or Freedom's chemo doing?
My chemo.
Or going all right.
Oh, we're taking donations for chemo now? Now you're just gonna call me shit, then you're gonna say, man, get out of here. Dude, I've always shaved my head. When it grows out, it's when I've been lazy. See, I shave my face. When I shave my face, I shave my head. You're an ass. I don't want no more feet pictures either. But you the one sending the feet pictures to Barricade? Because I heard him mention he was getting feet pictures the other day too. Is this a Make-A-Wish stream? You ain't right, man. Y'all ain't right. So I mean, like, dude, it's obvious that there's a lot of people that unoffendables, yeah. There's a lot of people that just want to be left alone, man. Everybody sees the problem. We just have to figure out a way to come together and solve the problem. We should shoot over to the Patreon and help with Those chemo donations. Yeah. Listen, don't start that shit, man. Somebody will make a video about me saying I'm taking up money for fake chemo or some shit. I do not have chemo. I do not have cancer that I know of. I'm definitely not taking chemo.
Only you get to be picked. Kissy face.
I know. Toffee, Coco.
Wait, what?
You keep talking that shit. Gano's gonna hunt you down. Keep sending me feet pics.
Oh, Liberty Williams just now came in.
Oh, no shit.
The whole thing.
Damn, where's he at? I didn't even see him.
I just told you to make sure you text him at the beginning.
I couldn't text him because I was in this.
You could still text.
I don't see him. Oh, there he is. What's up, Liberty Williams? How you doing, man? Barricade Garage was just on here. He did a live stream with me for a little bit. He's a good dude, man. He's a solid dude. He just, I thought he lived in New York for some reason, but he lives in Virginia.
He doesn't live in New York.
I thought he did. I don't know why I thought that. Yeah. But he lives in Virginia. He says he likes it. He says it's not as bad as everybody thinks. But
did you see Freedom Inc. started a GoFundMe? What a grifter.
Dude, come on, man. Stop, Toppy. Listen, you don't understand. People take that shit serious. I joked around for about a week because people were complaining about their what were them checks called? Them $1,200 checks everybody got. Everybody's complaining about them. So, yeah, stimulus checks. I made a joke about everybody sending me their checks so I could buy knives. Somebody made a fucking video taking it serious and thought that I was really trying to get people to send me their stimulus checks. Yeah. So please don't start that. I'm telling you. Watch. Somebody's going to make a video saying that Freedom Inc. said he had chemo, he had cancer, and now he's taking up money for fake chemo treatments or some bullshit. So I know, guys, I don't have cancer. I'm not doing chemo. Don't send me no money.
How's Liberty?
How are you, Liberty? How you doing, man? My kids just asked about you again the other day if I talked to you. What's up, my wonderful people? Dude, nothing. We got our house sold, man. I don't know if you knew. We got it sold 4 days.
17,000 over and in 4 days.
Yes.
We're on our way.
So we will be there to see you. Well, Book a Squirrel, I get it, man, because like I call people out too, but I don't call people out that I don't just run across a video and call somebody out. So I've had to watch tons and tons of videos and shit normally before I call them. I can't think of anybody I just called out for watching one video. But the person that did that is on my nuts. I tried to pass them off to somebody else. They will not let go.
I could tell you who it was, but I won't.
Don't talk about my gay note.
I wasn't going to talk about him. I'll talk about the other one.
Oh, guys, rule of thumb. Rule of thumb. If you hit your wife with the stick can't be bigger than your thumb. That's the rule of thumb. Did you know where that came from? Jonathan Cohn didn't know that's where that came from. I got a stick somewhere. Can you hit them with those extension cords as long as it's not as big as your thumb? Hey, fat dog, you're on my couch. Hey, fatty dog. All right, guys, I want to jump off here. Be good and stay safe. Now, we sold our place. So it's time for you to sell your place and meet somewhere in the middle, right? That's what we're going to do. And have a community. And we're going to tell everybody that doesn't want to be just left alone to stay away. And everybody will be happy. My wife just got her first clients for her new business. So that's feeling pretty good. What kind of business did she start? Toffee. That is good, though. Tara said, congratulations. Or it could be the middle. Tennessee, maybe, possibly. I don't know. We're going to find out soon, man. Like, I'm trying to figure out the whole truck thing. First thing I got to do is buy a truck. I have to have a truck so I can get back to work. I could go back to work welding at a shop. I'm going to try to avoid doing that just because there's no reason for me to work for somebody else when I can do just about anything except fix electrical gremlins in my car. I'm waiting on Barricade Garage to come do that. Saving it for him. No, I'm about to have it fixed, actually. But I wish I knew somebody that knew more about the last 15 years of trucks than I do, because there's so many good ones and so many bad ones, especially when it comes to diesel trucks. I keep looking at this truck out here, thinking about purchasing it. But by the time I do and I put money into it, for the money I'm going to have into it, I could buy something with fewer miles, probably in better shape. I don't know. Get back up, stupid asses. Every time a door opens doesn't mean you have to go out, dummies. But guys, I'm going to jump off here. Stay safe and stay armed. And just, dude, stay grounded. Like he said, know where your feet are planted at.